Hey everyone, Chris Gogolin here doing episode number 19 of my weekly Star Wars CCG GEMP game review series. Just got back from Atlanta, Georgia, site of 2018 U.S. Nationals tournament. It was absolutely awesome weekend. Had a great time. Thanks to everybody who came out. We had 24 players for the event. A couple people had to cancel last minute due to travel situations. I know there's some terrible weather, some flights that got canceled and things like that on Thursdays and Friday in some parts of the country with a lot of the storms we've been having. So fortunately, a couple guys weren't able to make it. 24 who did show up all seemed to have a blast. Special thanks to a Rebel Spy for his excellent commentary all weekend. All those videos are up on the official PC's YouTube channel as well. They were streamed live on Twitch all weekend, and they're already moved over to YouTube. Thanks to Joe for taking care of all that, and Hayes for running all the events and rulings and everything, and everybody else who had a hand in scheduling and organizing the event. The Atlanta guys, the PC advocates. Um, but in terms of what we're going to do today with our GEMP situation, we'll take a look at the final July leaderboard. There's like 3 hours or so left, 4 hours left. I don't expect there to be any movement in here. Might see maybe one or two more people. Like this guy right here, Plagueis, he might try and get his 10th game in to hit the cutoff to get the exclusive OCS foil, which for a handful of people who had already hit their games and were in Atlanta, they already got it. And I'll spoil it here since it's already been released for the rest of you. It's Ghost, the Ghost ship from the Rebels cartoon. I don't know, is it Hera's ship? I should actually look at the slip. Well, while Hera piloting, it does something. It's immune to less than 5 and can't be canceled. And it can go get Phantom. So I guess that'll play into stuff to do with Rebels. Hopefully we'll see some more of those cards in future sets. But, looking at the month here, we got our top two players, RLMD and Cryptophis. Great month, debut month for Ross here. Coming back from a little bit of a hiatus, having not played in a while due to work commitments. Jumps right in, takes the top spot on the board. Crypto finally qualifies, so that could potentially, mean in future at-large bids, because he's always playing, and he's already signed up for August. So it's just another guy who likes to hover around the top of the leaderboard. Same thing with a Rebel Spy here, who did all the commentary for U.S. Nationals. Another 10-2 strong month for him. So we expect to see some of these guys again at the top of the leaderboard. Batmouse had a great month. Kind of got a late start on things. Did make a good run, but his opponent's win percentage not so good. A little shy of a lot of these other guys, and I don't expect that to move much here in the next few hours. Looks like he got a late start to the month. Probably beat up on some of these people over here, giving them some losses, and if they didn't play enough other games to pick up some wins to improve their scores. If he's playing some of these guys on the bottom half of the board, a lot of these guys over here on the higher scores, they finished their games early in the month. Gavino was done pretty early. Chris Kelly had most of his games done pretty early. Rebel Spy was done pretty early. Zlorfic was done pretty early. So certainly a number of people who got out to early starts. So it's always the dilemma when you're trying to play in the monthly OCS tournament is when you can find time to fit all your games in. And as more and more people finish up and get a number of their games played, it certainly does have the ability to hurt your opponent's win percentage here, because the people who are going to try and squeeze a few games in are usually the ones on the right side of the board. You'll get some people who are like, they might jump off to get a few in early in the month, and then they kind of just hang out at like 6 or 7 games for a little while, and then get the last ones in toward the end, or at least get up to 10 to get the foil. But always a dilemma. The August event is already signed up, already started. We've got like 57 or so people entered. I mean, there's 48 on the season pass, a couple of whom haven't really played much. And then we got 8 or 9 people who've already just paid the monthly fee. So we'll probably be close to 60 again. and that'll kick off in just a few hours here, and we'll see who can qualify for this month. There's one at-large bid already up out there up for grabs. So if you haven't signed up yet, certainly want to try and jump in here. You could be, get an August or a September qualifier, or if you've played quite a bit along the way, make sure you do sign up again, so that way you can keep improving your scores, and that might still qualify for that at-large bid. It was currently with Greg Shaw right here, who's at 26 points this month. Chris Kelly was not far behind him. I think he was only 4 or 5 points behind. They might be tied or even closer. I know Silver Glen was right there in that hunt with them as well, as was Anemmers. So they were all within like 9 or 10 points of each other, and I was right there too. I think I was 9 points back starting the month of Mr. Shaw. So I won't pick up any ground on them, but these other guys will kind of close the gap a little bit, um, and that could be really interesting going into the last 2 months. It could come down to just one extra win. Could mean when you think about it over 8 months, um, in terms of total points, to come down to one win in an 8 month period. That's crazy. You know, what are you playing? 84 games, 12 a month. You're playing 8 months, 96 games, and it comes down to one extra win. Be crazy if they were tied and we had to go to like win percentage and do a tiebreaker that way too. But we're gonna jump into some game reviews here. We got a couple of games that were submitted to me. I have a few, but I always appreciate getting more. First game we're going to look at here was submitted to us by Plagueis. Plagueis actually sent this to me last week. Asked me, to take a look at it. Sent me the copy of the deck list for his. He's playing Bring Him Before Me. He's playing against Eweuge's Diplo deck. He sent me the Bring Him Before Me deck. Sent me the list. Sent me all 6 of his OCS games. He played with it this month for July, and thought it would be a good thing to feature, an alternative deck idea, very creative deck idea. And but he did ask me not to spoil it until after Nationals. He had talked to a few people who were going to the event, and there was certainly a possibility that they were going to participate and play with it at the event. I don't believe anyone did. I didn't see it anywhere on the deck lists or even when people talking about it at all. So I don't think anyone actually used it. But it's a very interesting deck idea, and we're gonna jump right in to the game here. Sorry, my cats are being weird, and I'm trying to figure out what they're doing. I mean, cats are normally weird, but they're being extra weird. So, we've got Bring 'Em Before Me, which is using the first order Kylo start. Starts, Insignificant Rebellion, which lets you stack cards for winning battles. Starts your Destiny. Makes you lose 3/4 of Vader's at a battleground site, and Luke is not. And then he's doing what we normally see with map, which we've seen with a few other decks along the way. A little less common now that this card got eroded, and it now costs a little more to get Kylo and the shuttle out than it used to. But he gets the Jakku landing site. It's the 1-0 site here. Bow to the First Order and one other effect. His 2 other effects, he's got Crush the Rebellion and I Am Your Father. Against any like mains type deck, Throne Room, Hitco, he starts Crush the Rebellion, so you can cancel Clash because that's pretty important. You don't want to get clashed and out of battles and things. And against any more of the, the spread type decks, the QMC, the Diplo, probably the new No Idea, those types of decks, old allies, he'll play I Am Your Father to get Vader and his lightsaber out faster. But you're going to see in a minute the cleverness of this deck, which is certainly something revolving around a card we haven't seen in quite a while. His opponent, Eweuge, is starting Diplo. He started strike planning, maneuvering flaps, and Rebellions Are Built on Hope. Rebellions Are Built on Hope is the one that gets you the Profundity or a couple extra systems. I doubt we'll see the systems. It's probably Pole and Profundity, which is a good backup ship. Also helps you flip your objective faster. You'll get Chandrilla out with Mon Mothma. You can pull her with strike planning. Get Chandrilla out. You could deploy the Profundity to Chandrilla, move Tanev over, ship dock, the droids, and then move Profundity with the droids on it um, to Alderaan, and that would help you complete and flip your objective and deliver your plans and stuff a little faster. And then I guess for his ground package, he's going to go with speeders. So maneuvering flaps is kind of similar to like combat response, where you reveal the pilot or the ship, and then you get the matching card for it. We'll probably see Echo Base Garrison in here as well, um, which makes the speeders immune to less than 6. They're normally only immune to less than 3, and that um, I don't think that's limited to just Hoth, but they can only react well on Hoth. But we'll probably see Luke and Speeder, Wedge and Speeder. Um, so he'll use Battle of the First Order. He gets the Finalizer. Oh, he already had the Finalizer. He plays Command, and he takes General Hux. The Bring Him Before Me objective lets you deploy the Emperor from reserve deck. It also lets the light side deploy Luke from reserve deck or Lost Pile. So, depending on which Luke is being used, in this case it's probably going to be Commander Luke. But if he dies, forfeit him for 7 off the speeder to the Lost Pile, then you can use the dark side objective to just redeploy him right back to said speeder. But because of the way your destiny is worded, Vader's present at a battleground site out of play unless Luke is captured out of play or present at a battleground site. If Luke is in his speeder, he's present. I don't know. I don't think he counts as being present at a battleground site, so they would still lose the 3. I think Luke has to be outside the speeder. Sometimes they get a little tricky with the prepositions, but I'm pretty sure that's accurate. And if not, we'll probably see it as the game goes on and see how GEMP enforces it. But he'll use to Bring Him Before Me objective. He'll pull Emperor Forseer. This guy, virtual card set 5, once during your turn, peek at top 3 cards of your reserve deck. Take 1 into hand, put 1 in your used pile, put 1 in your lost pile. So he looks at 3 cards, takes 1 into hand, sends 1 used, sends 1 lost. Does kind of stink when you're losing your own cards, but it does also, give you deck manipulation. It does accelerate your ability to find certain things. And as we'll see as this deck goes on, there are certain cards you want in your lost pile. So this will help, has synergy with that. So he takes Jakku, which he definitely needs, puts Iceheart in the lost pile, sends the probe droid back used. But definitely wants Jakku. He wants to get the finalizer there. Gets good activation off that. Drops Crush. We might see him play Accelerate as well to pull the bridge if it was there. The bridge is in there. He'll grab the I Have You Now. The card that we're going to see, he's going to get to later, it's this Tauntaun Skull. Spoiler alert. Pretty clever stuff. So now he'll grab his bridge. And probably just draw a couple cards. And his opponent will get out the grabber. So as the Diplo player against Bring Him Before Me, Bring Him Before Me typically doesn't have a very heavy space. They're usually a lot more heavy on the ground, so probably just want to set up the space stuff, get that going, put a pilot on the Tantive, and move it on over to Chandrilla, get some extra activation. Okay, so we see a General Solo. And there's the Echo Base Garrison I was mentioning earlier. This will make the T-47s immune to less than 6. It also lets you take guys into hand. You can get Commander Luke, you can get Commander Wedge, Zev, or Hobby. I can also get a Bacta tank, which can come in handy, especially in a deck like Diplo that has a lot of lower deploy cost guys. Low deploy, good forfeit. You can just kind of keep looping guys over and over again. He gets Alderaan out. He moves over. Basically just checked his reserve deck to make sure there was a Vader in there. There was. He'll use Blizzard 4. He'll use Blizzard 4 to pull out Vader. Now he's going to grab Vader Enforcer. We saw he had Vader Enforcer and Lord Vader to choose from in there. He's going to grab Vader Enforcer because of his game text canceling ability. Once per turn, cancel game text of opponent's character of ability less than 4 at same site until end of turn. This one just works at same site. So the guys piloting the speeders, like Poe Dameron and Commander Wedge, Vader can cancel their game text. So a lot of them have, Wedge has that draws of unable to otherwise in his game text. That can get canceled. Now, not only does he not add to power anymore of the speeder, but now he doesn't draw Destiny either. So there's a lot of potential blowback there if you're going against Vader and Blizzard 4. We'll see him grab the lightsaber, which we know is in there as well. And now it's going to force Lightside to respond. Otherwise, they're going to start losing 3 force a turn. He's also going to get Forlom out with the Emperor. If he's got a Force Lightning in the deck, actually doesn't even need a Force Lightning. He can use Crush and just keep looping. I have you now. So basically, what he's going to do. Right. So he's got. He puts the Accelerator in the Lost pile, takes the 2-0. And sends this Tauntaun Skull used. So essentially what he's going to do every turn is he's going to use Crushed Rebellion to take I Have You Now into hand. He's going to play I Have You Now, use Forlom to put I Have You Now in the use pile to get a different card. So every turn he's basically netting himself one free new card throughout his entire turn, which is going to help accelerate his ability to find the cards for his combinations that he needs. Let him find EPP Mauls, let him find pilots, and I have Imperial Commands. Let him find defensive cards like Imperial Barrier. So it's just one of those things that's just going to slowly, improve his ability to continue to find the cards that he needs. Alright, so we get Commander Nara. Nara, when he's deployed, lets you to a site. If you just deployed a Rogue Squadron pilot to same or related site, draw a top card of reserve deck, including himself. So he counts himself. We'll get a Menace Fades. That'll cancel any Force Drain bonuses, so Vader's Lightsaber won't add. We'll get the Commander Luke. Nara gets into the speeder. Luke stays outside. I'll grab the I Have You Now again. Lightside opts to just draw. Not going to move the ship over just yet. They're going to, keep working on their activation a little bit. Get more ships and pilots and stuff together. They'll pull battle plan to make that drain of 1 really expensive. Alright, here's where we're going to see a piece of the combo. So Vader's going to go used. Meek is going to go lost. The Tauntaun Skull's going to come into hand. What is he doing? What does this Tauntaun Skull we've been talking about do? During battle or attack, place out of play 1 non-droid character, creature, or creature vehicle from your lost pile. Add its destiny number to your total power. There's some other text here. That's not relevant. That's not going to get used anytime soon. Place out of play 1 non-droid character. Add its destiny number to your total power. Well, who did he just put in his lost pile? Lieutenant Mitaka. Destiny 6. It's actually Destiny +1 if Hux is on the table, making him Destiny 7. So he can pick a fight, use Tauntaun Skull to put this guy out of play to add 6 or 7 to his total power. And then when you use Emperor's power, which is why the Emperor's here, once per turn you may lose effect or 1 force from top of reserve deck to add 1 battle destiny anywhere. So in this situation here, he can drop EPP Maul, who's power 7, initiate battle, add a battle destiny. He can play I Have You Now to add 2 more, and play the Tauntaun Skull to put this guy out of play. So Maul's 13, 14 power all on his own. And then you're adding extra battle destiny draws. Tauntaun Skull, which you're playing multiple copies of, is Destiny 5. Lieutenant Mitaka here, who you're playing multiple copies of his Destiny 6, so you're probably going to draw pretty high for Battle Destiny. A single character with this little combination here can, get in 25, 30 power. Uh, it's pretty crazy what one guy can do, and talk about just people having to put a beat squad together with like 5 or 6 characters. The way this sets up, you can do it in one. Um, and we'll see if that's the move he opts to go with here or not. He's going to use Grievous. He's going to use Maul. He's going to use Crush, and he's going to go get that I Have You Now out. He's going to check his Destinies while he's in there. They all look pretty solid. Forlom's going to put a card back, so I'll put a decent Destiny card back, see if he can draw out a lower one. And he swaps a 4 for a 4. Oops. I guess he wanted to do one more thing in this deploy phase before battling. Oh, he's bringing his trooper. Guess just wanted to pile it on. Fallen Portal. Okay. So Fallen Portal, good defensive card. Target one creature or up to 2 characters present initiate attack or battle at Backdoor, Rancor Pit, Jabba's Palace, or any docking bay. We're at the Tatooine docking bay now, so that'll work there. Works pretty well at the Backdoor as well. Occasionally you see it again at Jabba's Palace. Most people don't play that site anymore. Lightside can in something like Prophet or Diplo. You could play Jabba's Palace as one of your sites. Draw Destiny. Target's immediately lost if Destiny +2 greater than total defense value. So depending on how many guys you target, in this case we're just targeting Grievous. He's defense value 5 because of armor, but your Destiny's +2. So if he draws a 4, Grievous will die immediately. He draws a 1. He draws a Eweuge. That's unfortunate because that may be a card he may need right now as well, and knowing it's not in hand. Yeah, he's going to pile on. Grievous is going to add a Destiny with command because he's a general out of sight. Oh, he reverted and forgot to Forlom again. So they just had to go back and fix that. So there we get the I Have You Now. It's going to add 2 more Battle Destiny. He probably won't have one. He might have 1 left available at the top deck to make it 5 Destiny draws. Yeah, because it's lose top card of reserve deck with Emperor's Power. Yeah, top card of reserve deck. So he'll do that. He'll lose the top card of his reserve deck. Then he'll play Tauntaun Skull. He'll put Mitaka out of play. Doesn't matter because you're not deploying that guy really anyway. Now that command has been grabbed, Tauntaun Skull is going to get looped everywhere. So he adds 6 to his total power by doing that, and now he's going to draw a plethora of Battle Destiny here. So he's already up to 22. So he's doubled him up in power. Luke's hit and forfeit 0. Nara's only forfeit 3. The Speeder's only forfeit 5. So that's going to cover 8. So that doesn't even cover the power difference. So he's already taken 3 overflow plus all of these Battle Destinies as well. Phasma and Kylo in there kind of weighed the deck down a little bit. Looks like we're going to get a small straight, though. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have a 5. Yahtzee? 5? 5! Yay! Yahtzee! We got a straight. So he's got 15 total Battle Destiny, and bam, just like that, he's at 37 power. His opponent draws a 5, 37 to 16. So it's more than doubled up. Where the Eweuge went to the use pile, there's a good chance he's not playing 2 of them. lose a battle, stack a card. That'll come in handy if you're ever trying to cross Luke. Grievous will die to cover the 5. That'll leave Maul and the Trooper behind. Not sure how I feel about that, but okay. I don't know, just having that Trooper there kind of scares me. I mean, he's got Crush, so he doesn't have to worry about Clash or anything like that, especially against speeders. So I'm sure he's fine here. But now he's got to peel 13 Overflow. And this is turn 3. Lightside's had 2 turns. And hasn't really worked out for them so far. So now he's just peeling 13 cards. We're trying to figure out where he's going to lose them from. We're going to pause it here real quick. You guys can't see the chat box, but I can because my stupid head is in the way. So what did we lose? BB-8 free ride combo, Rogue 3, Celebration, Alter Padme, Ray, Escape Pod, We're Doomed, It's a Hit, Bright Hope, Guts, Fallen Portal, Yoda Stew. Basically just lost half his deck. Pay upkeep on Blizzard 4, call it a day, ready, go. Lightside's going to pull Wedge out of his reserve deck. Activate a few. Look for a site. Not there. He had a Poe and it looked like a Leia. Yep. I think he did that wrong. We might see a revert here. Yeah. He wanted to use the Bring Him Before Me objective to play Luke from the Lost Pile, not from reserve deck. Misclick there. So we'll fix that. So we'll get Commander Luke. He's going to get thrown down to that site. He's going to immediately get captured by Vader. Now the objective flips, and the dark side starts losing a force. The flip side of the objective is just related to how to turn Luke, how to captive him, when he is captive, how to try and cross him and do all the dueling thing, which immediately wins the game if Darkseid is successful in crossing Luke. I don't know that we'll see that this game. That big beatdown battle certainly turned things on their side here. Got the Darkseid player to a huge lead. We may just see Darkseid just kind of lean on him at this point. Well, he might just take the probe droid. It might just move Vader right over there now. Looks like he's only playing the one I have you now, though. So now that he's used it, he's lost his ability to cycle cards. Any deck that's starting Crush, I would probably play at least 2 I have you now. It's just a personal preference. Or any Vader Monarch, something that you could then cycle around. We'll get the Finalizer and Hux now. That'll get him around Battle Plan. It'll also get him another Force Drain. Get him a second, keep his stuff moving. And it will get him a used pile pull when he puts Hux on it. Quite a few cards there to choose from. Mataka's already out of play, so there's no point in taking him because you can't deploy him now. And there's another one in the lost pile already. Not sure. He's using the command here to fish out PV from the reserve deck. Not going to deploy him, though. It doesn't have enough force. And we'll see Jin move away from Vader. Interesting. I guess he's expecting with the probe droid down, Vader's going to transfer over here at some point with Luke. All right. So we get a Moss Espa docking bay. We get a Rogue One, which won't have a Luke aboard. But it's got a Poe Dameron. I'm making immune to less than 5. And a Theron Net. So now we've got 2 Rogue Squadron pilots in there. We've got Bail on Attentive. That's going to move back to Chandrilla. That's going to flip. That'll get the objective adding 2 to its total battle destiny. Once per game, Hux gets to take a trooper or strategic reserves. So we're going to see him take a trooper. He takes Phasma, which is good because Phasma, when deployed, uses Bow to the First Order to get a card out of the used pile. There's a probe droid. Use the Emperor to set up some Destiny. Probably take Kylo. Oh. Mitaka goes lost, takes Kylo. Sends the other card used. We'll get a couple of drains in. Menace Fades is also back in effect now, so there's no lightsaber damage to be afraid of. There's also, this is only a drain of 1, not 2. Finalizer adds 1 in. Yeah, adds 1 to your force drains at episode 7 systems. Put PV aboard now, making this thing immune to a bit more. And now here comes Kylo. Kylo's going to fish a card out of the used pile. Grabs a Tauntaun Skull. Gee, wonder what Kylo's going to do. We'll probably get Phasma as well. Fishes out of Mitaka. Possibly a card he could Forlom back and set up a Destiny draw with. Top deck to add a Battle Destiny. Loses the Dr. E combo, but plays Tauntaun Skull, puts another Mitaka out of play. Now it's adding 7 to his power because Hux is on the table, so all the First Order guys are Destiny +1. So now we're up to 16. Once again, they've doubled up Lightside's power. There's a 6. You got to use a force when you draw him, though. But he'll cause that, or cause that card to be lost. And there's the Forlom. So he chooses to have the card be lost because he wants these guys in the lost pile. Lets him Tauntaun Skull them. So he's got 10 for Battle Destiny. Lightside, best they can do is tie that, but they're still going to lose the battle. They're really hoping to just get more than 7 here to make sure Kylo has to go. They don't. They only get to 4, which is going to be just enough to kill Phasma. Oh, +2. Sorry, the objective. So, lose a battle. Kylo, lose 2 force. Ouch. Stack a card, lose a battle. Oh, you just lost 3 more cards. And then on top of it, you've got 12 battle damage to take care of. So that's definitely the power that this deck can generate in a very relative short period of time through battling. Particularly when you're only going to like 1 or 2 sites, and it can really just keep the hammerlock on you. And we see Eweuge concede because there's not much left he can do at this point. He's going to forfeit everything that's at that site, and he's only got 12 cards left in reserve deck to work with, and he's pretty far behind. Well, he's not too far behind because Darkside's got quite a bit on the table and has been losing cards to their own objective and Emperor. So the differential actually isn't that much. I mean, it's 15 to 12, and they both have about the same size hand. But just in terms of board control, you can clearly see it's very Darkside heavy, and there's not much Lightside it's going to be able to do to get back into the game. So thank you to Plagueis for sending over both the deck list and the game review. He did say he's made a few revisions along the way. He lost the first game with it in the OCS, made a few changes along the way after each game, and it did go 5-1 for him. So it is a very solid deck if it can battle. If you happen to be playing against a deck, like a QMC or something like that, that can avoid battles. It doesn't have a lot of other ways to do damage. So that'll be interesting to see, if this deck, if it sticks around or how he adapts it next month as people get a little more familiar with it and kind of figure out what's coming. Things like evac control as well also come into play. If Darkside can only draw 1 Battle Destiny, it limits the swing of how much it can just clear in one site. If you had evac control and could stack up like 1 location with like 5 or 6 dudes there. Yeah, I said dudes. You're welcome, Joe. Then it could be pretty tough to deal with. But uh, again, very creative idea, utilizing an old card that we rarely see, combined with a new card that in Mitaka that happens to have a very high destiny in the Emperor and things like that. We'll move on to game 2 here. This one was just submitted to me the other day by Alsuin. Features 2 decks that we don't really see all that often, Darkside Senate and Quiet Mining Colony. This particular Darkside Senate looks like he is pod racing, and he's chosen for his one effect to start the hover cam. So that's pretty interesting. He'll get an 8-card hand, and then he can squabble for some senators and get them down right away, and give himself a nice activation bump with the ability to pull cards with Lot Dodd and start the pod race to do some potential force damage or retrieval, depending on what shields get played. Certainly an opportunity. It looks like he's playing a trooper build with this. We see the Dark Jedi presence. We see a couple of Stormtrooper patrols. So I'm expecting that we're going to see quite a few troopers here. Pretty interesting deck. We just saw some troopers at the U.S. Nationals tournament. A couple of decks really focusing on troopers, including the one that Tom Hade used to finish first on day 1. Excuse me. So we'll start the pod race. He is playing political effects. Okay, interesting. He chooses not to stack the Destiny, though. You don't have to draw Destiny simultaneously. Light side can draw Destiny anytime they want in the control phase. But I guess they declined to draw as well, not wanting to stack or potentially stack or reveal anything about their cards. We'll get the 2 senators out right away. We'll get a flip, and then he'll go fish out some political effects. Which ones do we have? This is the one that subtracts 3 from Battle Destiny, which he'll go ahead and deploy. Seems like a reasonable one. Probably just playing the 2, the add and subtract to Battle Destinies. It seems like it's going to be a pretty another pretty heavy battle-heavy deck with the Trooper beatdowns, with Dark Jedi presence, and all that fun stuff. We do see Light Side respond and pull the Senate shield. That will keep them from having cards pulled out of their hand while they have 12 or fewer. It also lets them once per turn suspend a political effect. So either, in this case, since he's only playing the 2, the adding and the subtracting from Battle Destinies, Light Side will just use the one that's whatever seems to be more productive for them if they're battling. If they have a lot of guys there and they can afford the forfeit, they might cancel the one that lets Light Side subtract, or I'm sorry, Dark Side subtract, so they make sure that their destinies get through and they get rid of lots of Dark Side characters if they have the forfeit. If they only have 1 or 2 guys there and they need to protect their potential immunity or just don't want to get overflowed, then they'll suspend the other one. So Sebulba adds 3 to each destiny draw, so go ahead and draw a 5 there. It's going to be an 8 for a total, and then we get to see our pod race totals up here in this little handy additional box that was added. Thank you to Troy for putting that in when he added the pod racing feature. There's our second political effect. And now he's probably just going to reload his hand a little bit. Look for some troopers, look for some interrupts. It's all about the beatdown. So many light side decks now are a little bit more of the finesse decks. I mean, you still have your mains. Let's not kid ourselves. Throne Room Hitco's not going anywhere anytime soon. But then you've got the more finesse type decks, the control type decks, Diplo, Old Allies, QMC. that like to just spread out to a number of sites. And, usually they get themselves fairly thin. If they can avoid battles, great. If not, it's usually when they get beat up. Blaster rifle. Not 100% sure what that's purpose is in the deck. It's a 3. I don't know if we have an effect. We have a blaster ping. I guess he's trying to add destiny with the blast points. Trooper just fired a character weapon, add a battle destiny. So it's not a bad interrupt, just another way to remove guys. You certainly do have some stormtroopers here, so no harm in that. Light side did not pull any type of coward shield or anything. Simple tricks, or battle plan. So dark side gets the drain in the Senate and cause 1 force loss. That's a minor mistake. We're going to see Dooku come out with a stormtrooper garrison. Now the garrison, he's going to play bass points and he's going to go fish for a blaster. That's not there. Interesting. I mean, he could have looked for a political effect or something if he wanted to know if there was a blaster there with the objective before wasting the interrupt. I don't know how many he plays. He's got 1 stacked over here. But the Stormtrooper garrison, Imperial leaders can't be targeted by weapons. He's part of the combo with that stupid field promotion where he makes himself a leader, so then he can't be targeted, and then you play all the other leaders that keep themselves from being targeted. It's another little stupid combo. But while he's with the leader, he adds a battle destiny, and while at an opponent's site, force drain +1 here. 2 if it's a rebel base. Bespin is not a rebel base, so that'll be a drain +1. The site itself is a -1, so they'll offset. And he'll have to pay the maintenance to keep that thing around. But he does save a couple of force. It won't be enough to react Bespin if you control opponent's characters and vehicles deploy +1 to Cloud City locations. And this guy deploys normally for 3. So it would actually cost 4 to deploy as a react. So he wouldn't have enough to do that. You could just play a Dark Jedi Presence if there was a battling situation and just double the garrison up to 16. And again, put up a big power number. Light side's going to go for the flip here. They've got the X-Wing cannon on their red leader and red 1. And they're going to drop Harksef and Caldera. That's going to give them the 2 locations they need to flip their objective. Now they can start getting cards with keeping the Empire out forever out of their force pile once per turn. They save some force as well, which will let them fire their X-Wing cannon potentially. Excuse me, still catching up on sleep from the weekend. I didn't end up getting home until about 2 a.m. Monday morning because of my flight being slightly delayed. And then when you get in a little later, the shuttle buses to the parking area don't run as frequently, so that took forever in a day. Lot Dodd lets him get any card he wants out of his force pile, so both players are going to have access to a wide variety of cards each turn to counter each other's moves. We've got the blaster. We've got the blaster points, blast points to add the destinies. Interesting to see if we find a you'll be dead or anything like that to do ping damage as well. So Vader and Tarkin come down. It costs 12. Does not pull the firepower shield, which should have been done before he deployed anybody, as you would expect light side to do that in a QMC deck, whether it's going to be dodge or most likely path of least resistance. They're going to move away from wherever you deploy to, more likely than not. Dooku slides over, as does the garrison. Take them a turn or two to kind of put the squeeze play on. We'll see if they have any more sites they can, light side can put out. Until use strategic reserves. cancel a Destiny draw using Stormtrooper Patrol. It's the non-V Strategic Reserves. This is the original Special Edition one that lets you a non-unique Imperial cancel. Home 1 is going to back up space now, so now Bespin's probably pretty secure. Home 1's solid ship. They get Celebration out now. That'll slow things down a little bit and give them the opportunity to retrieve some cards. Red Leader and Red 1. We'll probably see Akbar at some point as well, and possibly Rebel leaderships to really help solidify that Bespin system. It gives them the Celebration to retrieve, gives forces Darkside to pay an extra +1 to deploy all of their characters to Bespin. That'll slow them down a little bit as well. We'll do the pod race here. Draws a 4, which will get stacked. That'll put him to 27. So that would be enough to win the race. There's nothing to retrieve, though, at this point. He's got one card in his lost pile to retrieve. And Caldera, I believe it will be safe from being battled. Opponent must have total ability less than 8 to initiate a battle at same site. They have total ability equal to 8, because you've got Dooku who's a 7 and 1. So unless he can Ellis somebody away, which I don't see in his force pile here, any type of Ellis Hellrot, definitely would be worth having one of those in this deck to move your big trooper beat squad around. I know that there are a few light side decks that do run Insurrection, for docking bays and things, but not all of them. And when you're playing against the ones that don't, you can certainly do some damage here. He's going to drop Maul and the patrol. He's not going to battle. He's going to skip his battle phase because he only has one force left. Dark side, a light side player does not pull the pod racing shield, I guess because he doesn't want to be shield busted, and just opts to lose 6 force. Dark side will put all their race destinies back now. Aim high is out, so Dark side would have to pay 6 to complete their pod racing retrieval. They only have one card in the lost pile, so retrieving it isn't really a big influence anyway. Paying 6 for it is just ludicrous. So good job passing on that. QMC is going to grab a card out of the used pile. Again, they should have plenty of options in there, and they're just going to pay maintenance. So Darkside's really they've taken over all of QMC's sites, but they aren't doing really a whole lot of damage, and they're giving light side the ability to get cards into their hand and to kind of stabilize things. They're retrieving 2 force now with the celebration. He's going to play the Kitten Strider combo to make him lose a force. I don't like that here, especially with his guys parked right in front of Obi. There's a good possibility, that there could have been a sorry about the mess in his force pile. He's got Obi, he's got Rey. He could have taken a sorry about the mess. And, he does the retrieval and you cancel it with that, and then you get played sorry about the mess on, and suddenly you're going to be feeling a teensy bit foolish. There's no grabber out from light side, so he goes ahead and plays Trooper Assault to make sure that Stormtrooper Patrol will live. Now swing at Rey. She's probably going to get hit here, and we'll see if he snipers to take her out of the battle. Seemed to make sense. Uses Dark Jedi Presence, makes her immediately lost. But she's going to get resilience back into hand. No force left, so can't grab the resilience. Obi gets a swing. He'll hit the patrol. Yep. Well, he might still have a chance to miss. The patrol does have armor 4. They're only 2 ability, but they are armor 4. Well, he does get a 5 total, so that will hit. QMC isn't necessarily known for its high battle destinies, but they can fish out the low destiny cards out of their deck and kind of, as the game goes on, set some stuff up for some higher destiny battles down the road. He takes a swing at Hark Seth, and now we're going to see the other text on Rescue in the Clouds. Cancel a just drawn destiny targeting the ability or defense value of your non-undercover character of ability less than 5 at a system or mobile location. So this text was primarily designed to protect against interrupts like Set for Stun and Gravity Shadow, especially when dealing with TTO and the Death Star. You're moving through their mobile sectors, and then they set for stun you, put you back into hand, and then your ship is stuck there, and you can't ever make a run to try and blow up the Death Star. But the intended or unintended side effect of that text and that protection is that it also works on Cloud City, the other mobile location. So it doesn't just say mobile sector, it says mobile location. So it works on all of Cloud City, which I guess is kind of fitting because Rescue in the Clouds happened on Cloud City. And this helps Lightside cancel some weapon destinies or choke destinies, force lightning destiny, anything that's targeting the ability of their lower ability characters. So it wouldn't have helped Obi, but it could have had the potential to keep Arc Seth from getting hit. He doesn't. He still gets hit anyway. We're going to see an off the edge targeting Obi. Secret Plans is out, but they do have 7 force saved. Off the edge, unlike on the edge where you pick a number and then try and draw higher than it and retrieve that number of cards, off the edge targets the destiny number of one of your characters. So Obi's destiny 1, so he just draws the destiny, and whatever the difference is between the draw and the destiny of the character, that's the number of cards you retrieve. So he drew a 5, so he'll get 4 cards back, which he can afford to pay for. So it's going to get back his resilience, his Eweuge, Yoxjit, Pusimer. Now he will suspend a political effect before they get to destiny draws. This is the one that subtracts 3. So important here, he wants to make sure his destiny goes through, doesn't get subtracted out, so that way this guy's already hit, he has to die. Maul's not immune to anything, so Maul will have to die unless he draws a 0. Yeah, Lightside's going to lose all their characters anyway, so Darkside adding to their draw isn't really going to do too much potentially. Their 5 power difference, even if Darkside can add 3 to whatever they draw, that would put them up 8 versus, the difference between the draws. Obi forfeits for 8, so, potentially there's just maybe a couple of overflow possible depending on how low Lightside draws, how high Darkside draws. Lightside draws a 3. Nice middle of the road number, so maybe we'll see 1 or 2 overflow possibly. Wow. Darkside draws a 0. Luckily they have a Senator in hand that they can add 3 to that draw to make sure that Lightside has to do something too. If they didn't have a Senator in hand, Obi would be sitting there alone. Just like in the cartoon, Obi beats up all. I think that's how that went. But what do we got now? We've got light side with just Caldera. What they need is a way to move that guy away or something like that so they could battle. They don't really have any cards to battle with at this point. They will pay and do the force training in the Senate, though. Try and make light side lose some cards. He's going to drop a patrol. He's going to force lightning Caldera. If he was going to force lightning Caldera to kill him, he should have done it in the control phase so that he could have force drained there. So he'll kill Caldera off. That'll clear all of Lightside's ground presence, so now they'll have to pay to drain themselves in space, and they won't be retrieving anything with Celebration. It was really unnecessary to deploy this trooper here. He's not doing anything. Lightside's not going to come battle Vader Tarkin anytime soon. You're looking at Vader hitting someone, Tarkin adding a battle destiny. It's 10 power, 2 destiny. It's not the first place you'd expect Lightside to go. So putting this patrol down. You could use that force better. Could use that force to draw a couple cards. Could use that force to drain at this site. So probably not the most effective use of resources. Light side drains. Dark side forfeits their only ship in hand. I guess assuming that they're not going to be able to go after these two ships. They'll probably just get shot down by these. This X-wing laser cannon here. They do put Luke out to the unoccupied site. Again, pretty thin hand. Vader's already down. Dooku's already down. You might have a second Maul floating around, but they might also have a second, path of least resistance or something that they could move away from. Yes, this is a drain of 2. So you should have force lightninged last turn, killed this guy, drained here, and then even if you want to deploy the trooper, you just don't drain over here for 1 or over here for 1. You get the bigger drain of 2 through. More blaster rifles. Squabble. We'll see if I was going to squabble to retrieve. So he squabbles to retrieve 3 to get some cards back. Don't know how many senators he's actually playing. Usually you want to hold that, to later in the game when you've got your maximum number of senators available. 3 might be all he's playing. Probably not. I think we saw Toonbuck earlier and another guy or two, so he could have gotten up to 4 or 5 at least. But this is what QMC likes to do. QMC likes to move around. They like to initiate battles on their terms and to avoid them when it favors the dark side. And they're pretty good at avoiding battles between things like it's a trap and alternatives to fighting and path least resistance and dodge. They certainly have some options to avoid some battles. And then as you begin to chase them around while they're piecing up, parts of their hand, then they finally let you catch up and deploy several characters at once and usually do a pretty strong battle damage. And this is kind of where we're at. So Luke kind of hung out over there. Light side, dark side kind of gave chase. Grab another force lightning. With the force lightning he retrieved. Now we're going to see Rey take a crack at the Stormtrooper garrison. If the garrison can get hit, you possibly see a sorry about the mess. There's 5. That'll do it. They're only armor 3. So the garrison gets hit, and if Lightside has a sorry about the mess, that could be costly. They'll pay 1 and retrieve 1, because that's what Rey does when she hits someone. She has a bonus text. She draws 1. If she hits the character, she retrieves a force. The new EPP Kylo makes the other opponent lose a force, so there's a little bit of offset there. Played Force Lightning used, reduced Rey's defense value. I guess he's going to use the Trooper and take a shot at Rey. What does the Trooper's gun do? Target hit may not be used to satisfy attrition. So if he hits Rey, she can't be used to satisfy attrition. Both light side characters were successful hitting the dark side. So dark side's looking at taking some overflow here. Probably not too much. But they go ahead and burn that Dark Jedi presence to double the garrison from 8 to 16. So now they're actually ahead in the battle, and they will not be taking any overflow. That trooper is going to shoot Rey. Didn't even need the Force Lightning. Looks like he would have hit anyway. Add 1 if targeting a character. So yeah, that would have been 6 greater than 5. Still would have hit Rey. And now we see light side. Just get a 2 for Battle Destiny. Didn't suspend either political effect this turn, so Darkseid gets their chance to use either the add or the subtract. They use the add to make their destiny an 8. So they've got some decent battle damage there. Rey still gets to cover the battle damage, but she will not get to cover any of the attrition. So it'll be Luke or Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon, I think, covers everything. I think he's 7-8. Yeah, he's 7-8, so Qui-Gon would cover everything. And that'll leave just Luke all by himself in control of the guest quarters. And Darkseid's got no hand left. They've kind of been over deploying a little bit, putting some of their troopers out, and haven't been drawing too many cards. Also, having to pay to drain kind of hurts them as well. But still no light side shield busted, so they can't get the simple trick shield out. So that's going to let Darkseid drain in the Senate. He takes another Stormtrooper patrol. I'd have taken Maul there, personally. Maul seems a heck of a lot more important. Maul could have gone and killed Luke and, cleared that whole thing out. But he seems real fixated. Darkseid seems real fixated on getting their troopers and doing things with their troopers. It's like, I built the trooper deck. I'm going to use my troopers, damn it. But the troopers are probably not the optimal characters right now. So he'll draw a couple here. And now we see him grab a Maul. Choke Vader. Kind of not necessary in this situation. No maintenance cost anymore, so doesn't need to worry about paying that. He's going to squabble and grab a Senator. So yeah, so he had Yeb. He had Orn free. We've got Toonbuck there, so we had several other Senators. So using that squabble earlier, preemptively, again, not the most efficient way of doing it. Usually you want to wait till later in the game. You certainly, you could have waited later in the game to complete that pod race. Could have waited a little later in the game to squabble, just to get more efficient, more productive uses out of your cards. Lightside didn't play the shield, so completing the pod race, I mean, you would expect them to play the shield, you would think. There's another off the edge. So he's going to off the edge in his control phase, and then we'll probably see him try and retrieve it with celebration. Yep. So this is unfortunate that there's no more shields available for dark side either. They could have code clearanced. That would really help shut down this light side retrieval engine that they've got going. And we'll see Ray, who got resilience, come down at the other site. So now dark side's kind of stuck in the middle. They got clowns to the left of them and jokers to the right, and grabs another trooper. Maul's going to come after Luke, and he's going to get barriered. No barrier canceller. He's going to deploy the trooper off strategic reserves. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe this is just a guess. I don't know if our dark side player here, Alcuin, knows that he can have more than one card stacked on strategic reserves at a time. I don't know if he keeps feeling like he has to keep deploying his troopers off of strategic reserves. So that way he can stack another one there to cancel the force drain. You can have multiple cards stacked on strategic reserves. So you certainly could, could do that. Don't know how experienced he is with the game. I haven't played against either of these players. I'm not familiar with who they are, their screen names, who they are in real life. So it's certainly possible they may be newer players, may not be 100% familiar with all of the rules and minutia of the game, of which there is quite a bit. Lightside's really doing a good job here now of just, they slow the tempo of the game down. I'm going to path Luke over. Still going to have to lose 2 for firepower because he's moving away from a location that's occupied. But it's not dark side's turn, so I'm sorry. Never mind, doesn't have to lose 2. You only have to lose 2 when you move away from them on the dark side player's turn. So now here he comes on their own turn. They move away. And we get some swings. Light side is limited to just the 1 battle destiny, though. I believe that's Edsel who does that. Well, the majority opponent may not draw more than 1 battle destiny at battleground sites, but dark side can't cancel that destiny. They can modify it, they just can't cancel it. So if they had any senators available, again, not suspending political effects. This one, the political effects, once you have a guy on them, they all say if no senator here, you can do it to stack to place cards. Strategic reserves doesn't say that. Doesn't say if no. So just once per turn, you can cancel a drain by placing a guy here and then deploy guys off of it. So it works a little differently than the political effects, and I'm wondering if this is something that he got tripped up on. So Ray gets hit, Tarkin gets hit. See if Vader gets hit. See, there's the sorry about the mess. So it was a really risky play earlier to just kind of willy-nilly play that imbalance combo to just make them cause 1 force loss. When you see all these EPPs, and there's a good possibility that there's a sorry about the mess floating around in there. It was a very, very risky play. Luckily, it hasn't come up yet. Using General Jar Jar with a rebel leadership to keep Darkseid from drawing multiple destiny, and now he'll suspend the political effect. Missed Vader though, wasn't able to hit him. but they're still going to outpower him. They'll outpower him by 8. Vader will cover 7. So Darkseid's going to lose 1 here. But they're going to lose a couple characters. And just kind of, they keep just getting whittled down. Lights, I think, just has to lose Jar Jar. I think he forfeits for 4. He does. So there goes Jar Jar. Pay the maintenance on Lando. Call it a day. Save that 1 force. Then you got Luke, Lando. And then you got this system. You got Celebration. Get the 1 retrieval. And again, light side, 27 cards. They've done a pretty good job of retrieving a good chunk of their damage between Celebration and off the edges. Really, kind of thwarted all of Darkseid's best efforts here. Once per game, use 1 force to place opponent's just played interrupt out of play. He certainly could come in handy if when that on the edge gets played again. But here comes more troopers. He's just going to keep forcing the troopers onto the table. Get a defensive shield. Does he get code clearance? Oh, he gets coward. Thinking he can get him off 2 battlegrounds and shut the retrieval down altogether. I don't see that necessarily happening. I don't think he's going to be able to touch him in space. And then all Lightside has to do is put a guy to any site, get the 2nd battleground, and then flip, or to get around coward and then to get the retrieval. So, So Darkseid initiates battle. Lightside plays Blast the Door Kid, which excludes all leaders and characters' ability greater than 2. So it's going to exclude both Lightside characters and Darkseid, so it's going to end the battle. But they use Min Coons once per game to place that out of play. Obviously, they're worried about seeing it again and seeing the battle get canceled again, because Lightside's just going to retrieve it next turn with Celebration. And that's understandable. But as we alluded to a few minutes ago, Lightside did get their off the edge back, and they're probably going to cycle that around and use that to retrieve a lot more. So if we had pulled the code clearance shield, then putting that off the edge out of play, or even just getting it, well, you get the off the edge stacked over here, but without that code clearance to stack it and take it out of the game, using Min Coon to take it out of play would certainly be beneficial as well. And now we're going to see the Sorry About the Mess. Take out the Garrison. That's going to leave Min Coon kind of hanging out by himself. And this one could get a little ugly for Darkseid here. We see in their hand they have no Gick. We'll see the political effect get suspended. And it's just going to be Min Coon and his power 4 up against Luke and Lando and whatever else Anemmers has in his hand here. He'll retrieve the Sorry About the Mess. That's the thing too with QMC decks. They play a number of these one-off interrupts because they have the ability to go get them whenever they need them. That trying to figure out what to grab, what to cancel, things like that can be a frustrating task. You grab a Sorry About the Mess and a Blast the Door Kid goes through. You grab an Off the Edge and a Barrier goes through. You grab a Jedi's Resilience and It Could Be Worse goes through, or a We're Doomed. There's just a handful of interrupts that Lightside really wants to take advantage of and has ability to keep doing because of the ability to just draw cards from their force pile. But this is going to hurt. This is probably going to be, the tipping point that's going to make this game over for Darkseid here. Oh, they drew low, but still, it's 13-4. It's 9 overflow. And he's got 21 left, so it's going to take him down to about 12, assuming he doesn't lose any cards from hand. And there's not going to be a whole lot that Lightside will be able, or Darkseid will be able to do in response to this. They've got their best character Maul stuck over here with these troopers who aren't even, they could have been split up. They could have been, troopers here and Maul here, or vice versa. Maul could be in the middle. But they're kind of hanging out together over here. And yeah, he goes ahead and concedes the game there. Peel in 9, there's not going to be much left else that he can do. Lightside's just going to keep retrieving one or two, getting their guys back, and draining in space. So that'll I'll wrap it up for our game reviews this week. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure if you haven't checked out, there's 14, 15 hours worth of videos from the U.S. National Championships that was just held in Atlanta, Georgia. One of the last major events of the tournament season. Got the European Championships coming up in late September, and then the World Championships will be the first weekend in October. So we'll see some more Set 9 cards being added to the GEMP environment in the next few days. They did promise that the new development team has been working on a few of them. They're just ready to push them out to live. We'll probably see those happen before the end of the week, I would think. Don't quote me on that. But I would expect that to happen before the end of the week. So that'll certainly change some things up for online games and some OCS matches heading into August. And be sure and subscribe to my channel so you get updates on my weekly videos. And thank you guys for watching very much, and have a great day.